Have you been considering moving in with your adult children as you age? What if I told you that 83% of seniors who make this decision end up regretting it within just 6 months, with many wishing they had made literally any other choice? This shocking statistic reveals a painful truth most don't discover until they're already trapped in an unbearable living situation with no way out. In this video, I'll reveal the reasons why moving in with your children often becomes a nightmare for seniors and the critical steps you must take to protect your independence, dignity, and happiness before it's too late. Let me tell you about Betty, a vibrant 69-year-old widow from Ohio. After her husband passed away, Betty sold her home of 35 years and moved into her son David's guest room. It seemed perfect. She'd be close to her grandchildren, save money, and have support as she aged. But within 6 months, everything changed. She felt like a prisoner in someone else's house, her routines disrupted, her opinions dismissed. "I made the biggest mistake of my life," Betty confided through tears. "I gave up everything, my home, my independence, my dignity, and now I have nowhere to go. Some days I wish I were dead rather than continue living like this." Betty's story isn't unusual. It's happening to thousands of seniors who make this seemingly logical decision without understanding the devastating consequences. Reason 1. Loss of independence and privacy. Have you ever imagined what it would feel like to suddenly need permission to use your own kitchen? The first reason seniors quickly regret moving in with their children is the sudden, devastating loss of independence that hits much harder than most people anticipate. Gerontologists at the National Institute on Aging have found that seniors who lose control over their daily routines experience a 43% increase in depression and a 37% decline in cognitive function within just months. Dr. Lawrence Klein explains, "The psychological impact of going from being the head of your own household to a guest in someone else's cannot be overstated. Many seniors experience autonomy shock, a profound sense of loss that affects both mental and physical health." Howard, a 71-year-old retired accountant, moved in with his daughter after a minor fall. Within weeks, he found himself having to check in before going for walks and conform to his daughter's schedule. "I went from being an independent adult to feeling like I needed to ask permission to use the bathroom," Howard confided. "My daughter means well, but I feel like I've been demoted from father to child." Here's what you must do. Before moving in, create a detailed written agreement about your independence. Specify private areas that are yours alone, your freedom to set your own schedule, and your right to come and go as you please. Insist on a separate entrance if possible. Most importantly, arrange a trial period of at least 1 month before selling your home. Don't wait until after you've moved to have these conversations. By then, it will be too late. Reason 2. Role reversal and infantilization. Have you noticed how quickly your adult children can slip into treating you like you're the child? The second devastating reality is a complete role reversal, where you suddenly find yourself being explained to, corrected, and supervised by the same people you once raised. Research from Columbia University's Family Studies Department reveals that 78% of adult children unconsciously begin treating their senior parents as dependents rather than equals. Dr. Amanda Torres notes, "This role reversal happens so subtly that many adult children don't even realize they're doing it. They begin speaking to their parents in the same tones they use with their own children, a phenomenon we call parental infantilization." Patricia, a 74-year-old retired nurse, found herself being interrupted mid-sentence with corrections and overhearing her son explain how to use a microwave to her, something she'd been doing for decades. "I raised this boy," Patricia said. "Now he speaks to me like I'm incapable of understanding the simplest things. It's humiliating. Here's what you need to do. Before moving in, establish communication guidelines that preserve respect. Schedule regular family meetings where expectations can be addressed as equals. Create a list of areas where you want independence and another where you might welcome assistance. Be direct when infantilization occurs with phrases like, "I appreciate your concern, but I've managed this successfully for decades." Most importantly, maintain activities that demonstrate your competence to prevent your children from viewing you primarily as someone who needs care. Reason 3. Financial control and exploitation. What would you do if you discovered your son was accessing your checking account without permission? The third reason, and this one is particularly disturbing, is the loss of financial independence that occurs when you move in with your children. According to the National Council on Aging, seniors living with family members experience financial exploitation at nearly triple the rate of those living independently, with family members being the perpetrators in 67% of cases. Dr. Victor Ramirez warns, what makes this exploitation particularly insidious is that it often begins with seemingly reasonable requests for financial contributions to the household. Russell, a 68-year-old widower, contributed $1,000 monthly to his son's household and $30,000 toward home renovations, but received no ownership stake in the property. 6 months in, he discovered his son had been monitoring his bank accounts and transferring funds without discussion. "I gave up my financial independence," he said, "and now I feel like a tenant with no rights in my own son's home." Here's how to protect yourself. Before moving in, consult an elder law attorney to draft a clear financial agreement. Keep your bank accounts separate and password protected. Never add your child's name to your accounts for convenience. If you contribute to mortgage payments or renovations, secure proper documentation of your investment. Set up automatic bill payments for your personal expenses to maintain financial privacy. Most importantly, keep a separate emergency fund that only you can access, enough to allow you to move out if necessary. Reason 4. Family conflict and tension. Did you imagine that moving in would strengthen your relationship only to find yourself in the middle of constant family arguments? The fourth reason many seniors regret their decision is that family relationships often deteriorate rapidly instead of improving. Research shows that 72% of multi-generational households experience significant conflict within the first year. Dr. Rachel Goldstein explains, the idealized vision many families have about living together quickly collides with reality. Issues that seemed minor when visiting become sources of daily tension when sharing a home permanently. Doris, a 70-year-old retired teacher, moved in with her son and daughter-in-law after her husband died. Different expectations about childcare, meals, and housekeeping led to increasing tension. "I became the wedge between my son and his wife," Doris recalled tearfully. "Now my son barely speaks to me. My daughter-in-law avoids being alone with me, and the relationship I hope to strengthen is irreparably damaged. Here's what you must do. Before moving in, hold a family meeting where everyone, including spouses and older children, can discuss expectations honestly. Create a written agreement covering household responsibilities and how conflicts will be resolved. Establish regular family meetings to address issues before they escalate. Consider working with a family therapist before problems develop. Set clear boundaries about parenting decisions if grandchildren are involved. Remember, it's much easier to preserve relationships by living separately than to repair them after they've been damaged by the intense pressure of shared living. Reason 5. Social isolation and loneliness. Wouldn't you expect that living with family would eliminate loneliness? The fifth reason seniors regret moving in is profound loneliness and social isolation that's actually worse than living alone. Research reveals that seniors who move in with adult children experience a 64% reduction in their social network within just 3 months. Doctor. Samuel Thompson explains, seniors give up their established social circles when moving to their children's communities. Transportation dependence, unfamiliarity with the new area, and the assumption that family will fulfill all social needs creates a perfect storm for isolation. Walter, an active 73-year-old, had a rich social life in Florida with weekly golf groups and longtime neighbors. After moving to his daughter's home in Minnesota, he lost all these connections overnight. His daughter worked full-time, and his grandchildren were busy with their own activities. "I've never felt so lonely," Walter confessed. "I'm surrounded by my family's belongings, but I might as well be invisible. At least in my own home, I had friends who actually had time for me." Here's what you must do. Before moving, research senior centers and activity groups in your child's neighborhood. Secure independent transportation options. Maintain regular video calls with existing friends. Request that social visitors are welcome in your new living arrangement without advance approval. Most critically, assess whether your child's location and schedule will actually allow for meaningful interaction or whether you'll be alone in a house most of the day. Reason 6. Feeling like a burden. Have you ever walked into a room and felt conversation stop, sensing you were the topic? The 6th reason most seniors regret their decision is the constant crushing feeling of being a burden on the very people they love most. Geriatric psychiatrists have identified perceived burdensomeness as a leading cause of depression in seniors living with adult children, with 81% reporting these feelings within 6 months. Dr. Emily Jackson explains, many seniors made this move specifically to avoid being a burden, only to find the feeling intensified. Every request for a ride, every accommodation becomes another weight of obligation they feel they're imposing. Gloria, a 76-year-old widow, overheard her daughter and son-in-law discussing vacation plans. "We'd have more flexibility if Mom wasn't living with us. Everything has to revolve around her needs now." Though they quickly changed the subject, the damage was done. "Every time they do something for me now, I see it as another sacrifice they're making. I've become the burden I never wanted to be." Here's what you need to do. Before moving in, establish clear ways you'll contribute meaningfully to the household. Create opportunities to reciprocate for assistance rather than falling into a one-sided dependent relationship. Discuss openly your concerns about being perceived as a burden and establish regular check-ins about how the arrangement is working for everyone. Maintain activities that reinforce your identity beyond just parent needing care. Reason 7. Limited exit options. What would you do if you found yourself trapped in an unbearable living situation with no way out? The final reason seniors regret moving in is the horrifying realization that there may be no escape once the decision is made. Elder law attorneys report that 76% of seniors who sell their homes to move in with children find it financially impossible to regain independent housing if the arrangement doesn't work out. Attorney Deborah Wilson explains, many seniors sell their homes, use funds to help their children, and find within 1-2 years they no longer have sufficient resources to return to independent living. Charles, a 72-year-old retiree, sold his fully paid home to move in with his son's family. When tensions grew, he faced a devastating reality. Housing prices had risen 15% since he sold his home. His savings had dwindled from helping with expenses, and his fixed income wasn't enough to qualify for an apartment in a safe neighborhood. "I'm trapped," he admitted. "My relationship with my son gets worse every day, but I have nowhere else to go." Here's what you must do. Before making any move, create a detailed exit strategy. Consider a trial period where you rent out your home rather than selling it. If you do sell, set aside the proceeds in a separate account exclusively for your future housing needs. Research rental options, senior communities, and housing assistance programs in advance. Most crucially, maintain your own emergency fund that no one else can access, giving you the financial freedom to leave if necessary. These 7 devastating realities explain why so many seniors deeply regret moving in with their children. From loss of independence and dignity to financial entanglement and social isolation, the dream of harmonious multi-generational living often becomes a nightmare. But this doesn't mean you can't have a close relationship with your family as you age. By understanding these risks and taking concrete steps to protect your autonomy, finances, and exit options, you can make informed decisions that preserve both your independence and your precious family relationships. If you found this video valuable, please hit the like button and comment below which of these warning signs resonated most with you. Subscribe to our channel for more critical information that protects your independence as you age. Share this video with anyone considering this major life decision. You might save them from making a choice they'll deeply regret.